What's up, nerds? I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Aaron.
Let's play Binging with Babish, the board game.
So, Rival Restaurants is a game that was funded on Kickstarter. I think it's this company's first game, not 100% certain, but it is a sort of chaotic, I don't know if you call it Euro, but basically it's a big real-time aspect where we go to these certain counters where we're going to be buying ingredients and bartering with each other and trading and saying, I'll buy that from you for $100, and everything is up for trade so that you can complete these recipes to score points, and it's kind of a race to the finish. Which I think, the fact that thumbs up, but then there's also stars, I guess that works.
Yeah, because you could
It's
become a
reviews,
five-star
like a 5-star
restaurant.
review.
Yeah, because with enough
thumbs up on
you eventually
Facebook.
become a 4-star restaurant, I guess.
A 5-star restaurant.
But it's a race to the finish, though. It's not a points game, really. It's a first to get to 20 points game.
Yeah. The chaotic aspect comes when we all come out here to bid. You know, there's a portion of the game where you flip the timer over, and you could do as much as you can do within that time. Mm-hmm. And I can see that being really fun in certain points. There was also a lot of points where, like, it was, it's a 1 minute timer, and the first 20 seconds is hectic and chaotic, and then we're all like,
I'm out of money.
I think I'm done.
Onions, I have onions for sale. Nope.
Wood for sheep.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, I'm not giving you anything for your sheep. Mm-hmm. So I think that, like, there could be aspects where that hectic craziness is really fun, especially in the bigger player games. Or
it definitely is more the merrier.
Yeah.
You don't want to. I think there is a 2-player variant, and I didn't even read the rules because I'm like, I'm not doing that.
I wouldn't even play as 3 players. Like,
I wouldn't even play it 1 player. Wait, what are we doing?
There's some pre-planning you can do. Like, you can say, like, okay, I'm going to go here and get this, and you need something from there, so I'll get it for you. You go over there and get that for you and that for me.
But it can also be a bluff.
Like, and we'll just swap, and then he goes there, trades me mine, and I'm like,
I'm not trading.
You have to take my garbage with it if you're going to take it.
So, yeah, as you're making these things, you're collecting garbage. It's a thing you can trade, or you have to, like, go to the island and get rid of it, because if you're making more food and you have a ton of garbage around, people don't like your food because they smell garbage in your place. So it's like, it makes sense that, like, okay, I guess I'm making a lot of garbage from making this thing, but it kind of sucks because it's like,
garbage makes all your future ones worth a lot less.
Like, especially if you make a really nice, not the basic ones, the gourmet recipes, a lot of them, it's like, oh, I made 5 garbage from making this Gordon Bleu, so now I have to spend a whole turn getting rid of 5 garbage so that I can
$500.
Yeah, it's $500.
Yeah.
And like I don't even make that much money at the beginning of a turn. You only get $300 unless you have some upgrades. Like, it's kind of like defeating. Like, you're like, okay, I just did this cool thing.
It feels like a grind.
Yeah.
It's very grindy resource collection, and you're trying to collect the right set of resources.
And trying to
cash them in.
Trying to pull a fast one on somebody to trade them. Like, here, I'll trade you this cheese for that meat, or I'll trade you this meat for that onion. You're like, okay, and then you're like, wait, the cheese was more expensive, and like.
I think that was like what they were trying to have happen.
Yeah.
But I never was like, oh, I made a bad trade, or it would have been better to do it this way.
I also feel like the rules were kind of vague on trading. Mm-hmm. It just, unless I missed something, it just kind of said, like, oh, anything is up for grabs. You can trade recipes and favors. I'm like, what is favors? What is that? Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it was like 2 lines on this whole aspect, which is like 90% of the game. I didn't, and like, there's a lot of stuff I don't like about this game. The trash, you're right, is just an annoying mechanic. The fact that your restaurants, first of all, the special powers that you get in your restaurants and the chefs do not feel balanced. Obviously, I didn't play this as much as the people who play tested it, but it really doesn't feel balanced. The fact that you get a +1 for doing a dish, certain dishes that match your restaurant type, well, that's just a random bonus.
Yeah, there's no way to, like, pick what you get. If there was like
there is if you get a certain upgrade, but it still feels like something that you got randomly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in Wakanda Forever when there was that random negative effect that happens.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but it's just a random positive effect. I think the most egregious part of this game that to me is like mostly inexcusable is the action cards. It is a take that aspect that is some players could never get the take that cards. One player could go get one action card, play it on one other player, and there's nothing they can do about it, and they have to really choose to go there to try and get something to defend,
And they are wicked powerful. Like,
They really
if
are.
they were just like, get an extra $100, get +2 income for the next 2 rounds, like
Yeah.
something not super huge. But there was like
Ray played one on me that he took half my income.
and it was
Right.
also your biggest income of the game. It was
Yep.
like Aaron was behind. He finally had a power play where he got 900.
It was his special ability. His
Yeah.
special ability was to gain 900.
Yeah,
And then
for
steal
upgrading.
half of one chef's money rounded down. When that
I was
happened
just
to Aaron,
I just was like, that sucked.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing ever.
I
Like,
was seriously, I was like, the fact that could happen and did happen, I went, this game. This. Like, seriously. It's just so messed up to me. When there's a take that aspect in a game, it needs to be either like the whole game, 90% of the game of what you're doing, or don't put it in there.
Yeah.
When it's just, and Ray had, his special ability was to get action cards. I'm like, he just has such an advantage in this really annoying aspect where he can just go, oh, I'm going to do this to you. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to really make a decision and go out and buy cards to try and retaliate in any way, and it's going to be random.
If this game existed without the action cards, I would say it's an
slightly
okay
better.
game. Like, I still don't think it's great. I think that I see what they were doing, and I think the concept of the bartering and the crazy wild couple of minutes is a really cool idea. I don't think it was implemented perfectly here.
Yeah, I mean, you have to facilitate too much of the fun.
Yeah.
You really do. Like, if you're not playing with the right people who are good at that bartering thing, and again, because I think the rules are kind of vague on it, you have to, like, get creative with it. Like, I get the idea of it being chaos. Chaos can be kind of fun sometimes. And there were some rounds in some of the games I played where I was like, oh, that was a fun round. And it's hard for me to think of another real-time game that is chaos like this. The only one I can think of, which probably isn't a perfect comparison, but it's like Mountains of Madness by Yellow. That took a real-time chaos aspect and made it matter. It
Yeah.
made it, because it was co-op and you had restrictions, so I need to give you this information, but I can't. Here it's just like, oh, the 1 minute timer means yell at each other until somebody hears you and agrees you and whatever. Like, if there wasn't that timer, you would just make trades like normal, and
Yeah.
yeah, this game definitely. When I saw the box and I saw the artwork, I'm like, yes, this looks fun because that's me. I love cartoony things. I was like, oh, rival restaurants. Okay, we have a restaurant. We're gonna be like buying ingredients and making things. Okay, but once it came to that real time thing, like I like real time in other games, like in Mountains of Madness or in Escape, like because because they're co-op. There's other real time games we played though.
Well, so like we just did Sorcerer City,
Yeah.
and that the real time aspect I think amplified what you were doing, which was placing tiles.
But it wasn't affecting other people. Like it's affecting you, and you're
True.
like competing against yourself. Like
Kind
this,
of, yeah.
You're like competing against the timer to try and make some agreements between people, but
So-
benefit yourself more. And like,
I feel like going with the Sorcerer City example, I feel like that took a good mechanic and a decent game and made it better. I feel like this is trying to use a timer to make a game good. Go from being not good to good. You know?
I almost wonder. I didn't mind the chaotic real time part almost at all. That was like my favorite part of the game. I almost wonder if we tried to make it too chaotic. Like maybe we were gearing up for this craziness, and that is more just so that you can't bicker back and forth forever. You've got hey, you've got this much time. Work it out. If you don't work it out, nothing happens. Like it's not just.
but there's too much information to look at. Like we all have all of our ingredients face up, so I can look around the board and see all the ingredients everyone has. You have two recipes you're working on, and you have like ingredients kind of like next to them to show that you're wanting to use them for those things. So you're probably not gonna trade them unless somebody makes a really good trade to you. So, like I'm like, okay, well what does he need on that thing? It looks like he needs a tomato. Hey, I got a tomato for that. Oh, we're out of time. Like by the time I figure out what you need, unless you're yelling out, hey, I need this, I need this, I need this. Like, I think that's why you're supposed to kind of talk in the getting ready to move round where you're like, okay, I want to go to this place because we're all secretly picking where we go. Like, hey, I really need tomatoes this round. Can somebody get me tomatoes? I got to go buy I got to buy steak. Like, I think you're supposed to do a little more bartering there. It could make it a little better, but it's still
That's the
like...
thing. It's like, so are we supposed to pre-plan, or is it supposed to be chaos? Like, what is it? You know?
Yeah, I think that this game, without the action cards, would be fun with the right group of people in the right setting. in the right like mood. But if any of those things are messed up, or the action cards, I think that this game it relies so heavily on the people playing it.
Yeah.
Like being good at that, enjoying that environment, and like being all into the game.
I think I 100% agree with you. The only problem is it does have the action cards, and that scenario is almost never gonna happen. And even with that, it's still not that great. Even like with that, it's like, okay, it went from being an okay time. I guess I had some fun. There were a couple rounds where I did some cool things, and like, it's just not worth it to me. It's like,
I get that.
one redeeming thing about this game is the component quality is pretty good. It's decent. Like, they're not, like, quality-wise, like, these cards aren't super thick or whatever, but there's some innovation here. Like, I like that the trash can thing looks like a trash can. This little thing comes out, and you can put components in there and then think that you've lost the components and then freak out all the little clips and stuff, except for these ready-to-move dials are too loose. You know, you have to, like, really hold it and make sure that it doesn't accidentally move. It should be able to be, like, you set it. It's nice and tight. You set it, you lay it down. Yeah, you just go whoop and flip it up. And I don't even know how necessary these things are. Like, I get why they're in there, but it...
So you don't change your mind?
I
Well,
guess,
it's
yeah.
so that when we both go to the same place and we're fighting over the same things, it like we're locked into that. I can't be like,
this
oh,
facilitates
you went there, I'll go over here instead.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also, but yeah, that is kind of like real time. Like, okay, we both flipped this over, and I go carb-tastic, and you said carb-tastic, but you have already like put your thing
on
down.
the
I'm like,
flower or
oh,
whatever, yeah.
yeah, the one flower that was there, and I also wanted it. So like,
It's one more thing it's trying to add to the chaos. It's
Dexterity
trying
and
to
speed.
force bartering and like interaction on
I guess
you.
it's supposed to
Yeah.
feel like you're in a restaurant, like
We're in a market and we're all running
food
over.
truck
Yeah.
wars kind
It's
of
like,
thing.
I
where,
know this game isn't that good, but if you play it like this, you could have some fun with it. It's like...
Yeah.
So, obviously, we don't recommend this game, but if you do want to check it out, there's gonna be a purchase link down there. So
we put purchase links to every game that we review in the description box down below.
Every game in
But-
every description box.
Since we did kind of trash it a bit, we'll also put some purchase links to like Star Wars DVDs if you just want to get something good, you know?
but the good Star Wars TV it's just episode 1.
It's just the holiday special.
Hey, that's one of the best things.
All right, we're
Lucas
not
ever did.
talking about that. Do the thing, buy it, subscribe, something, and have a good night. That's not how we do it at all.
But that's how this one's ending. It's done.